pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, will the secretary please call the roll?
Chairman Judd?
Here.
I'll note Commissioner Scattini is absent and Commissioner Machado is absent. Commissioner Meyer?
Here.
Commissioner Houston?
Here.
Sunseri?
Yes.
Martinez?
Here.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Verification of agenda posting.
The agenda for the Airport Advisory Commission of the City Hall regular meeting of March 23rd, 2016 was posted on the bulletin board at City Hall on March 16th at 10 a.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2.
Okay, thank you. We have the minutes for our previous meeting of February 24th on the consent agenda. If nobody has any issues, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll second.
No, you got to make the motion.
Oh, I thought you just made a motion.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as received.
I second.
Okay, that's Fred and Jose. Okay, any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, this is public input at this time. Anybody that wishes to speak on an item which is not on the agenda has an opportunity to speak for up to 3 minutes. And any takers? No cards?
Nobody's here.
Nope. Okay. It's going to be a quick meeting. All right. No one there. Reports. We seem to have no reports listed.
I do have one little mention. I was asked to mention and remind that 3 of the commissioners' terms are set to expire in December of 2018. 2016, sorry. That's Commissioner Meyer, Commissioner Houston, and Commissioner Scattini. I provided you with this thing. There's also copies for the audience up front. You will need to reapply if you wish to continue, and you may want to start that process in May. In all likelihood, a decision won't be made till after the November election, though, because it'll be the new people.
Right.
Sit in the seats.
One correction, as I was mentioning earlier about this list, it says we usually meet on the last Wednesday of each month. We actually meet on the 4th Wednesday of each month. So, just in case somebody gets confused. All right. That's all for reports. Item 8 is old business. Item 8A is AIP Runway 1331 Reconstruction Project, Phase 1 and 2.
I have nothing to report on Phase 1. That's still working through our legal department. Phase 2, I have a lot to report on. So as I'm sure many of you who have been out to the airport know, the airport's all torn up. Effectively, our runway is now about a 4.5 foot deep hole, 4.5, 5 feet, around in there. We have been mixing our lovely clay soil with lots and lots of lime for the last week, maybe week and maybe 7 working days. And basically, what's going on at this point is we're putting out a layer of lime, and then we have a giant machine that's effectively a rototiller that goes down to a set depth and then mixes the lime in with the clay and just pulverizes it in there. And with the weather we've been having, the soil's a bit wet. The other day I went out there to see what was going on, and there was so much steam coming off the reaction of the lime with the dirt that it looked like a fog bank from San Francisco. It was impressive. So this big machine goes through and it mixes the lime through all the clay. Then they come through and they compact it, and they do a whole bunch of compacting, and then they go ahead and get it to the finished grade. That's what's going on right now. In fact, they finished the mixing as of this morning for the sections that are available, and that truck's left. So now they're working on the last 2 sections to get it to the finished grade, down by CAL FIRE and down by Bravo. Once they get it to the finished grade, they have to water it. They continue to add water on top of the soil to keep it moist while the lime sets up. And ultimately, what we are looking for is a compaction strength, a compaction rate of 98% in the dirt. Our specs say 95 is the minimum, 98 is optimum. Well, they're getting 96 and 97% compaction on the first day, and then there's a 7-day cure period where it only gets harder. So that is all going very, very well. We had a little bit of a hiccup in our 18-inch depth section. Weren't quite getting the compaction right. They immediately brought in a bigger roller, took care of it on the spot. So nothing but compliments to the contractor. He was on it. He got it taken care of, and everything's going well for that. So starting tomorrow's probably more just watering the dirt, but starting on Friday, they're going to begin hauling in the base rock to the north of 2-4. And then all of next week, we're hauling rock in on both sides of the runway. On April 4th, that's the first day of the total closure of the runway, Monday, April 4th. On that date, they're going to go in and rip out the remaining asphalt between the 2 project areas where they're working now. Up on the screen, it's basically from about that aiming point to about that aiming point. They'll be tearing all that out. They're also going to be tearing 2-4 back to about here and to about that aiming point for the tapering. And they're going to grind up that asphalt and take that out. And at that point, the next day, they'll be moving the dirt into the big giant pile that you've seen out there. And then the next day, we're off hauling dirt. And that's going to be taking place on Wednesday, April 6th. At that point, they're going to come back in and treat the dirt with the lime, mix it up, compact it, and then we have our 7-day waiting period. Right now, we are scheduled to begin paving operations. We're doing a little test strip this Friday, but we're scheduled to begin paving operations on April 11th, and that's going to be our crack repair project on Taxiway Alpha. We'll begin on the 11th, and we will be paving all the way up until May 3rd, it shows, everywhere else. So once that's done, all intents and purposes, the project should be substantially complete. All the pavement will be back by May 3rd, and we should be able to reopen 3-1 for its full length and not have to do a short opening like we were planning for CAL FIRE. With that said, they will have to come back later in June to put the permanent markings down because the asphalt has to cure for 30 days before they can put the permanent markings down. We'll be doing that as a night project. And all during the month of May and June, they'll be working on the electrical issues out there. That's going to be going on. I put a picture up on the screen just to show you logistically kind of what's going to happen. Effectively, on the second day of the closure, all of the asphalt where there's red lines is going to be under construction and torn up. So it's a considerable logistical mess.
Does that include the taxiway also?
The taxiway will be having 2-foot wide slices taken out of it wherever there's a crack.
Okay.
We're cutting it
you're working
and then putting a patch in, and because if you just patch the crack, it's going to crack again. So you got to cut it, remove it, pack it, and then put a new patch in. So that's what's going to be happening on Alpha, starting on Monday the 11th. So I believe all of you or some of you received an email from the Soaring Center regarding the closure and their unhappiness with me and it. During this email, there were some liberties taken with some of the facts. I'll leave that where it is. But some of them I need to point out. When he states that the FAA is stating that just go write an R on the 13 and then we can use that portion of the runway, I spoke to FAA San Jose, which is the folks that are responsible for flight standards. I spoke to San Francisco ADO, which are the folks responsible for the design of this airport. I spoke with the individual that he refers to in here in San Jose. I spoke with Caltrans Division of Aeronautics inspector for the airport. And I spoke to Washington, D.C., the guys who write the manuals on markings for airports. Nobody had ever heard of putting an R on the numbers. It just straight up is not approved by the FAA. There's no such marking. Caltrans Divisions of Aeronautics state that operating from this portion of the airport with all the construction going on, in his opinion, is iffy at best and dangerous. The same was given by a flight review officer in San Jose who is very familiar with our airport. He's conducted several crash investigations out there, and he's also our FAA inspector for every air show. And his response was, I wouldn't bring anybody in there with what's going on. Combine that with the fact that we physically cannot get anybody out here safely with everything that's going to be going on. Gravel trucks, asphalt trucks, big giant paving machines. There's just no way to make this happen. That's why the airport is closing. Nobody understands the hardship that this is creating more than me, because, well, maybe Steve, because I think before they went to all go talk to Steve, they came and talked to me first. I understand. That's why I've tried to give as much notice about this as possible so that possibly people could plan around it. I know some of the FBOs out there are bringing in aircraft early, and so that they're at the airport during the closure, and when they were scheduled to come in to be worked on. It's just something we have to get through. I believe Dave from Gavilan said it's a necessary evil. It's got to get done. It will be done. Like I said, we're ahead of schedule. Come May, it's all over. We're through it. The closure dates have not changed. We close on April 4th, and we should be reopening a majority of the airport on the 22nd. So in reality, we're talking 2 weekends of a closure. The rest are weekdays. I think we've mitigated it as much as we possibly can. Skydiving asked to be allowed to drop their skydivers over here during the closure so that they're going to be operating from San Martin or from Fraser Lake, and that way they wouldn't have to go all the way out to Tres Pinos to pick them up. I discussed it during the meeting this morning, and it creates actually blood drain from the faces of the contractors that are going to have the trucks driving through there just because it's unsafe, and that's going to be my ruling on that. It's unsafe. There's too many moving parts when all this is going down in order to get it done in 18 days. Add to that during the 18-day closure, city staff will be repainting this portion of 2-4, this portion of 2-4, and the taxiways so that all the paint is all new across the entire airport. We're going to be out there with fresh paint everywhere and not wanting people to track through it. So we've accommodated everything we can accommodate, and we'll get through it. I have been asked to give a presentation to the council about the progress of the project at the April 4th meeting, and I will go ahead and do that.
Okay. Any questions from anybody?
The only question I had is with the lime treatment, how far down did they go to mix soil?
The majority of it is 12 inches, but there's a section from the edge of the black here and out to about there. There were some grade issues, so this section really was a tie-in. It really wasn't the final runway.
Right.
So going back to where the final runway is correct, that's all an 18-inch section that we're doing the lime treatment on.
I guess I have one more question. During this process, you've basically hauled away a lot of dirt, I guess.
Yes.
That's being replaced with base rock, is that
That
what
is
it
correct.
Okay. All right.
The lime treatment process will cause the dirt to swell a little bit. They're going to cut that off. That goes. And then we removed an 18-inch section, the width of the runway, the entire project, in order to replace it with 18 inches of base rock.
18-inch depth, yeah. Okay. One more question. At some point, I think I recall talking to you or whatever, there was some issue that the intersection is going to be higher than is it going to be higher than 2-4?
The intersection will wind up being a little higher than 2-4. That's why 2-4 is getting torn up to do the taper.
Okay. It makes it, in other words, it's even with 3-1, and 2-4 will have a little hump there then.
Well, you'll never even know.
Okay.
Because the hump is over like 1,000 feet in both directions.
It's what, a couple inches or something?
No, I don't even think it's a couple inches. I think it might be 1.5 inches.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions while we're on this topic?
The big inch hump is the fact that the center line of the runway is 25 feet to the east of the crown of the runway. So we're having to move that crown over 25 feet to the center of the runway. That's going to take some significant overlays. I believe on this side of the runway, it's like 12, we're going to wind up with 12 inches of asphalt. And on this side of the runway, we're going to wind up with 5 inches of asphalt. It's kind of crazy what we have to do to move that crown where it should have been to begin with. That's why this tie-in was, because basically we put the crown in the middle down here, and then we had to move it back over 25 feet.
Wow. So the whole thing is going to be corrected?
The whole thing is being corrected.
And including the lead-in taxiway portion with just adding asphalt?
That is correct.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Sounds like a little ahead of schedule, aren't you?
We are.
Turn on your mic. Turn on your mic if you want to talk. Okay. Any other comments or questions? If not, we'll go on to item 8B, Air Show 2016.
So the performer cast has been set. Preparations are made. We're just counting the days to begin at this point. Posters should be approved tomorrow, and we'll start getting those printed and out. Tomorrow we may approve a brand new website for the air show. And I'm thinking maybe tomorrow we're going to have our TV advertisement also. So
Is this the poster?
Yeah. We may replace the F-18 with an E-2.
You don't say anything about this Cub landing on a car. It shows it here, but that's act they're going to do.
Yeah. We can look at maybe adding some clarification to that. I always thought a picture was worth 1,000 words, though.
Anyway, looks pretty good.
Thank you. It was done by an in-house staff member.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All right. Item 8C, old business, is 4th of July.
Looks like we're going to be relocating the 4th of July fireworks show out to the airport. It's going to it will be necessary to close the airport for about an hour on the 4th of July. We'll close approximately 10 minutes before shows start, and then it will be closed for the 10 to 15 minute show, and then long enough to run a sweeper up and down the runway and taxiways after the show to make sure there's no fog on the runway. We'll be launching from near the AWAS towards Smike in this manner. And we're looking at viewing areas in this area and possibly going ahead and opening up the ramp for viewing also. That would make it necessary to move the aircraft off the ramp yet again. So I'm kind of pushing to just having the viewing area over there. We'll see.
This is going to require a lot of coordination and people, isn't it?
Control of people? I can handle it. Yes. It's no cars are going to be permitted in the airport. They'll be parking out here on the streets and then walking in, and we will have control of the people.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I wasn't looking up there when you said firing this way. So basically you shoot fireworks across the runway, is that it?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Across 3-1 there. Okay. All right, thank you.
And there's only parking on the street? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm not allowing well, they can park. If we open up the ramp, they'll be allowed to park like the air show. But all the parking will be out here in the streets and MC Electronics parking lot and the old airbag parking lot. I'm not going to allow cars into our facility. There's just no place to handle it and turn them around and move them around and everything else. So if they want to come in here and watch.
That way you pretty much don't have to worry about controlling them.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was thinking they were going to have to be.
No. No cars inside the airport.
Okay.
We'll allow feet only. They're a little easier to control when they're outside their cars.
So MC normally closes their parking lot.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll talk to them and see if they'll leave it open for them.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll move on to item 8D, trailer parking fee, bring back fee, designated area business.
So at the last meeting, I broached the discussion point of charging for some of the trailers that are parked out there. So what I would like to propose, and I'll write it up for the next meeting. I ran out of time this meeting. I've been kind of running around because of this project. I'm going to propose a $100 a month parking fee for trailers other than glider trailers. As far as glider trailers are concerned, they're gliders, and they're tied down like you're handling it. That $100 a month fee will the opportunity for businesses to negotiate that away during lease negotiations will still exist. So that way a business can accommodate their trailer. Instead of paying the $100, they can negotiate a side yard to their business like Dave has, and they can park their trailer in their side yard that they're paying for at a reduced rate. But we need to do something to kind of get a handle on what's going on out there.
Do you also plan to propose that they park these trailers in a designated spot?
Oh, yep, sorry, I forgot about that part. I'm also planning on fencing the staging area for the where we have the construction staging area now out by the back gate, and that will be the designated trailer parking area for the airport, which is out away from the areas where I need to operate mowers and away from the areas that aircraft are working.
Does this include the Elks Club trailers that are parked there all the time?
No, that's an agreement that was made a long time ago, and I keep an eye on what's going on, and they are following the terms of the agreement. And I really can't tell you when that agreement expires, but it's no time soon.
Where are all these trailers parked?
There's some near the Weatherly building. There's a bunch on the other side, over at this end of the T hangars and at this end of the T hangars. A bunch, 4 or 5 or 6.
Some at the end of my hangar.
There's one at the end of your hangar now.
Well, car trailer.
Oh, that my end of your thing. So, anyway,
Mike, if Mike owns it, it's special.
well, Mike doesn't own it; the airport owns it.
Well, okay, airport.
Well, if a person has a leased area and they park a trailer on it, do they still have to pay that then?
Well, I mean, if we're going to lease somebody a building space, we're going to do that at a rate that's high, because that's developed business space. But if somebody wants a yard to store stuff in, then we would usually lease that at a lower rate to entice them to build their high-priced building at the airport. So that's kind of the way I would treat it. If somebody had a trailer and a business that they needed to operate, they would want to lease a yard at maybe a third of the building rate or something. Each lease is unique, so I really can't give you numbers, especially because I'm involved in some lease negotiations right now.
So this is more for the private individual trailers versus the businesses we have.
That is correct.
Oh,
If you're a business, you're going to be able to lease property to take care of your stuff.
Okay.
Do we have many businesses that actually have a trailer that's part of their business?
I'm thinking of 3, right?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
that I know of.
okay. Just didn't know. Just because I'm on the other side of the field.
Well, some of them are over there too.
Oh, well. Okay, so we don't need to do anything tonight.
You don't need to do anything. I'll get it written up next time, and run it through legal, and then propose it to you folks, and then take it to council.
Okay.
I'm not in a hurry because I need the project to be done in order to free up the parking areas. So.
Right. All right, any other questions or comments on that topic? If not, we'll go on to item 8E, CAL FIRE.
CAL FIRE is still looking at starting early in May. We are going to be doing a pretty significant repair to the pavement in front of CAL FIRE beginning tomorrow. We're going to be grinding 10 feet of this taxiway that's in front of their concrete pad that is failing, removing it and then replacing it on Friday with new asphalt, which should take care of that problem.
Is Granite Rock doing this?
When did we start? May?
The CAL FIRE aircraft should be coming 1st of May. The late rains may have backed that date up a little bit, but In fact, they just contacted me today to find out if we were still on schedule, and they were very happy to hear that we were. So,
I mean, you said May 1st a while ago, they were going to be here on May 1st.
that is correct.
Are you saying they want to come sooner than that, or?
No,
Oh. They may slide it a little, is that?
they may slide it a little bit because of these last two storms that we've had, these last two late storms. But apparently Southern California is still quite dry, so they may be here right on May 1st.
Do they support Southern California from here?
Yes.
Oh.
Not on a normal basis, but we're usually the first base to open and the last base to close. And usually in October and real early in the season, we may be one of two bases that are staffed and open. It's usually
Is the runway
us
gonna be open?
and Weed, I think.
In May? When is the schedule going to be complete, the runway?
May. We moved it up for them, so they should all come together.
So they land those big heavy fire bombers on a brave new payment and just cave it all in, right?
No. We're going to trust our engineers that they got everything right and everything's going to be fine.
That was the A team. Okay. Any other questions or comments on CAL FIRE? If not, there seems to be nothing under new business. So, move on to item 10, which is items for next agenda. I guess that'll be...
All the items in old business.
I guess probably all the same things you got under old business.
Okay.
And does anybody have anything else they want to bring up or put on the agenda? Nope. Well, if you think of something between now and before the next agenda gets printed, talk to Mike, and I'm sure he'll try to accommodate you. Next meeting date is April 27th, 2016. And there being no further business here, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Anybody want to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, Marge moves to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second? Okay, that was Robbie, Marge and Robbie, okay. No further discussion about that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.